Now these are some of the things related to the input devices. As I said, the input devices are classified as three categories. One is the alphabetic input, which we generally give it through the keyboard. As a matter of fact, imagine if you have got a computer without a keyboard, people feel as if you are a fish out of water. Because every time you want to interact with a machine, the thing that you require is a keyboard. So nowadays there is a hard keyboard and there is also a soft keyboard. So if you will find that if you press something, all of a sudden the soft keyboard comes on the screen, and then you can use only the mouse and move around and click on that key. Or you can have, if it is a touch sensitive screen, you can put your finger and select the keys from the soft keyboard. So you have a soft keyboard, you have a hard keyboard actually. Now that is like the alphabetic input. Then you have got two other categories. One is, as I said last time, positioning devices and pointing devices. If I want to position and the data that I want to collect is the XY coordinates, then it is the positioning device. But if I got a menu option and if I want to point to something, then it is called as a pointing device. So you will find that mouse is essentially both a positioning device as well as a pointing device. You can move the cursor, click on it, and then that position is either taken or that menu option is taken, and that is a very powerful device that is available. Scanner, when you want to scan the documents, now you will find that I have shown you a picture of a 2D scanner, but nowadays there are 3D scanners. So if you want to take, let us say I want to create the bust of myself. You know, in the good old days, if you are a very rich person, you will not simply have your portrait hung on the wall, but you will have your own bust. And nothing wrong. Nowadays with the 3D printing technology, what you have to do is, you have to stand in front of this 3D scanner, and the 3D scanner will scan slice by slice the contour of your head. This will be stored, and there is a 3D printer. So layer by layer, it will create the bust. So whether it is your or whether it is Mahatma Gandhi's hardly matters. But that is a 3D scanner. There are a variety of 3D scanners actually. Quite a few of them are laser based. So what happens is that you have got a trolley which moves around, and there is a laser beam that shoots around. So it measures the distance and accordingly takes the data. Whether you want to scan a shoe sole, or whether you want to scan Taj Mahal, or whether you want to scan a temple, whether the object is small or large doesn't matter. You will find a variety of scanners are available in the 3D frame. Here what I have shown you is a 2D scanner. So if you have got a document, if you have got a piece of paper, you normally put on it and scan it actually. Generally the scanning is done raster by raster, that is line by line. As I told you, for the 3D purpose you have slice by slice, here it will be line by line. Now light pen, in fact there was a pointing device called as a light pen. So this light pen will be used, and then you click on it. It was a laser beam which will be shot, and then it will be used for the computer graphics. People use this light pen even today. Joystick, as I mentioned to you that it is another pointing device. Many of the computer games people play, you will find that there is a joystick available, or there is also a joypad available. Joypad is like the pad kids use, and there are several buttons on it, and you use the joypad both as a positioning as well as a pointing device. Microphones are used. If I want to click something, I can have the microphones, and if I click here, this position which is in 3 dimension can be recorded based on the location of the microphone, based on where I have clicked, and the distances, and the acoustics technology allows me to use microphones as the input devices. Webcam, as I told you, even digital cameras are attached to the computers as input devices. The last thing that I want to show you is what is called as a cave. Now the importance of computer graphics has become so much that there is something called as a virtual reality. And this is a room, for instance, and the 6 walls of the room, each wall is a screen. And you have got the devices in your hand. So as if I want to sort of take a flight and I want to see the campus around, I can do that using this cave. And you are immersed in that environment. So when you look at it this way, or when you have to use the headgear, and when you look around, you will see the view accordingly. So this is a very powerful virtual reality device called as cave. And this has got the most fancy input devices that you can think of, and most fancy also. The whole wall is a display screen actually. And such devices and such, say if you are working for Lucas Films, or if you are working for any media company, you will find that such systems are available even in India for that matter, you know. So these are very fancy input-output devices. I am showing you the input device. I will now show you some of the output devices. Obviously, the screen that you see is an output device. Earlier it used to be a cathode ray tube, then it became LCD, then you have got LED, and a variety of display technologies have come about over the last 70 years. And these display technologies have made the screen thinner. In good old days, if you have got the CRT tube, then you will find that to lift it itself used to be a weightlifting exercise in some sense. Nowadays you will find that the screens are so sleek and thin because they use a different technology of displays, mostly LCD or the LEDs are available actually. Then you will find there are billboards, there are big boards, and the whole screen is in the form of bulbs. And these bulbs are programmable bulbs actually. So if you are in a square and there is a message that goes around, or there are advertisements, you will find that that is a screen that I have shown on the right hand side, which is like a very large screen, can be built as a display device. Obviously the printer and the HP printers, Epson printers and many other companies, but this is just, and you have got black and white printer as well as you have got color printers actually. Now these are some of the printers. Now unfortunately you see all those billboards of political people, you know, somebody's, you know, the, what is it, congratulations for your birthday, Anna Falana Falana Dhamaka. They have got ugly looking faces and even uglier looking jewelry of gold on them. And I call it as the monkey parade, I mean sort of, you know. So all those pictures, that is also printed through computer. Why those pictures are there? Unfortunately, the bad part of computer development is that we have got very large printers, you know, 10 feet or 20 feet by infinity. So what they do is they compose the whole thing on the screen and print it on this printer, which is about 10-12 feet long, and then there is a big table. And the ink that is used is not RGB, though it is in color, it is not RGB. You will find that it is what is called as a CMY, the cyan, magenta and yellow, which are the complements of RGB. If you see the color spectrum, there are complementary colors. So instead of RGB, they use the complements of RGB, which is CMY. And these are in the bottles. These are like 10 liters, 20 liter bottles. And these bottle inks are fed into the inkjet printer, and this whole thing is printed. I wish that device was not available for people in India because you really get sick of looking at those billboards around the whole towns, whether it is south, north, east, west, everywhere in the country, you will find those billboards actually. That's also the plotters for you. Headphones are the output devices. Television can be connected to the computer. Radio can be connected to the computer. In the good old days, we used to have the punch cards. Then there is a line printer. A line printer is like a belt wherein the keys are there. In the very good old days when we had mainframe computers, our output will come on the line printer. And the line printer was a belt, and then the composed line of 120 characters will come behind and bang. So you will find that the line printer will give a very big noise of bang, 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 and these lines will be printed, and one line at a time actually. These line printers are now no longer useful. You have got dot matrix printer. You know, when you take the receipt, you will find that there are dot matrix printers. There are also variety of dot matrix printers available. I have not mentioned over here. But braille embosser, if you want to print something for the blind people, you will find there are embossing machines which are connected to the computer, and 3D printer, as I mentioned to you. This itself is a very, very rapidly developing field where you can design some product on the screen, and as you get the HP document print, you can also print the 3D part in it. And the 3D printing is the most rapidly growing area today. And we will also have you some of the 3D printers in our campus, so that when you do the work in your other courses, you can get a printout, not in 2D, but a printout of an object in 3D is also an output device. So this is a fascinating area of input output devices.